I hate to be the bearer of bad news to those out there on the left, but regular American families, when you start cramming it down everybody else's throat, this is what usually pisses people off. A shareholder lawsuit. Of course, Target was like Disney, trying to get it dismissed out of hand as quickly as they could. Well, today, that request for dismissal was denied. Renegade Online. Target, of course, Target. We're talking about the retailer, Target. Target has been facing investor backlash since its whole LGBTQ trans pride push into the retail space last year around, I think it was in the spring or early summer. And, of course, it backfired about as horrifically as Bud Light. They were not that far removed from one another in terms of when they were unveiled. And if you remember, of course, Target had this is what I wanted to get to here, these images. They had these entire sections that they put into Target, these entire sections in the store that were promoting LGBTQ pride coded merch. And most of it was clothing, there was signage. And one of the things that I think most people keyed in on was that they had, these bathing suits in Target for guys that wanted to be girls and had special pockets in the bathing suit where they could tuck the junk. I mean, this is where Target went. And you got to remember, Target is, take away all of the marketing fluff and everything else. Look at it from the real lens of how America perceives Target. Target is an upscale Walmart. Period. End of story. Target is a huge, big box, multifaceted retailer like Walmart. The perception is it's nicer. And this is why the joke for years has been to call it Target, right? But Target, at the end of the day, and this is the commercial mistake that they made, and this is why I think this lawsuit is worthy of further examination. And it may wind up going nowhere in terms of it might get dismissed down the road. They might settle. A judge might file or find in favor, or a jury might find in favor of Target. We're just not there yet, but today was a big step. Target's biggest audience is still regular American families. And regular American families, okay, I hate to be the bearer of bad news to those out there on the left, but regular American families, the vast majority of people in this country, while most of us respect your right to choose a lifestyle, live how you want to live, we're all cool with that, have been for a long time. When you start cramming it down everybody else's throat, that other people, and especially their children, have to be subjected to a constant barrage of things like this, this is what usually pisses people off. This is a big reason that Donald Trump just got reelected, right? So Target, in this case, decided to go down this road and make this whole section in the store here for pride, making all these products and services and whatnot that catered to this audience. And in many cases, they were prominently displayed. And that kind of became an issue, right? And this gave Target a lot of public perception problems. One of the things that came out of it was, more recently, a shareholder lawsuit. Of course, Target was like Disney, trying to get it dismissed out of hand as quickly as they could. Well, today, that request for dismissal was denied by the judge. Target has failed to persuade a judge in Florida, and not a Florida state judge, right? This is not a state court. This is a federal judge that is in Florida. Target has failed to persuade a judge in Florida to dismiss a lawsuit that accused the retailer of deceiving shareholders after its sales of LGBTQ-themed merchandise for Pride Month sparked a backlash and a customer boycott. U.S. District Judge John Badalamenti in Fort Myers ruled that the plaintiffs had presented enough information for now to pursue claims that Target misled investors about its efforts to guard against social and political risks. The lawsuit from investor Brian Craig claims that Target's board focused only on activist groups, calls for diversity, equity, and inclusion measures, and overlooked potential negative responses to the Pride campaign in May of 2023. Target did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Wednesday. This is from the New York Post. Again, also, this was originated from Reuters. America First Legal, the conservative group that filed the lawsuit last year, had no immediate comment as well. Now, if you also recall America First Legal, you can find them on X. We followed them now for a couple of years. They've also been involved in several pieces of requests for information, potential lawsuits, and what against the Walt Disney Company and other woke Hollywood aficionados out there. Target had urged the judge to dismiss the lawsuit, arguing that there was no evidence backing the allegations, that it had warned investors about a potential DEI backlash, and that the complaint was based merely on Craig's disagreement with the company's business decisions. America First filed the lawsuit in Florida federal court in August of 23. The nonprofit group is headed by Stephen Miller, a close advisor to President-elect Donald Trump. America First and other conservative groups have accused some major U.S. companies of undertaking diversity and inclusion efforts at the expense of shareholders. Target pulled some LGBTQ-themed merchandise linked to Pride Month last year, citing increased confrontations between shoppers and employees and incidents of incidents of products being thrown on the floor. Now, look, I want to be clear. I'm not encouraging, customers to run into Target and create a ruckus and do any kind of property damage or anything like that. That's not right. Voice your opinions the right way, and I think this might be one of the best ways to go. How many times have we seen a story like this recently? I feel like we are seeing more and more and more and more and more of this type of litigation being filed against a cornucopia of various companies from different industries out there. It's Hollywood, it's gaming, it's retail, it's big beer like Bud Light, right? There was this wave for years of all this crap coming in. The lies that this kind of stuff would help you sell more product. We talked about this Sunday related to Jaguar. Jaguar is about to find out. And yes, the cars look as ugly as you imagined they would. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Jaguar is the most hilarious example, I think, in my opinion, because they're so late to the game at this point that they damn well should have known better by now, right? This whole issue with Bud Light and Target, this was 18 months ago almost. This was an age ago. We've seen what the backlash is. We know what this looks like, right? So how the hell does Jaguar pull what it does? Target right here is a good example. And I'm curious to see what happens going forward, because I would love to see these same kind of lawsuits hit places like Disney. Now, the question is what happens with it over the next few years. That I don't know yet. But you get my point. So I saw this story today, and a federal judge has said that, yes, there's not enough here for me to dismiss this case out of hat. We need to go forward with it. I want to hear more. This is potentially in a very similar vein to what we recently saw with Gina Carano and the Walt Disney Company, right? Big entertainment, Disney in this case, versus big retail, Target over here. Big entertainment wanted to shut down Gina Carano, who had, of course, as we all believe, a very strong case. They wanted to get a judge to throw it out. A judge said, nope, don't want to throw it out. Want to hear more. Don't think there's enough here to just dismiss it out of hat. Now Target is going to be facing the same thing. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on this one. Obviously, this will be a very long, drawn-out case. This is not going to be over tomorrow. So it's not like we'll have an answer a month from now or 2 weeks from now or even probably 6 months from now. These things have a long gestational period, so be patient in that regard.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.